Okay, we got Skipper coming back again. We got Mio after this. And then we've got... Wow, good heavens. How's it going, Skipper?
What's up?
Ah, another day, right?
Another day.
Yeah, another day. We love to be on the receiving end of them. So, how are you feeling today?
I was actually wondering if you could talk a little bit.
I mean, that's normally why
How are
people
you doing
contact me. How am I doing?
Yes, I know, but could you talk on... Yeah.
I'm living, I guess. Which, kind of with the given state that of what I am, it's an interesting way to phrase things.
Yeah.
I mean, you want me to put things in perspective for you? Just, how sometimes my days can go. I was literally approached yesterday by a person that died, was brought back by a god of death, and is being forced to be their champion, whilst also potentially having to try and break the contract that they are under to be said champion by either killing all of their friends or forcing the title on someone else to take over for them so that they can get out of it. Yeah, I deal with a lot of strange things. Well, actually, that's not even that strange as far as things go.
I wasn't... No, you couldn't tell me anyways. I just heard about
not a patient, but
Marge having a contract forced on her. So I was wondering if that was the contract.
No, not at all. This was a different person altogether. Marge is not a patient of mine.
Okay.
Whilst I have offered my services, because, well, as the saying goes, Lord knows she needs one, I'm not going to force that on a person. She has her own coping mechanisms, obviously. She seems to do as well as she can, despite the, constant upsets or twists that she seems to experience in her life at the same time. It hardens a fear for a human.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Like, I very much can.
That's a little perspective
but, it's
for
one
you,
of those attempts. Yeah, of course. I don't know. I did hear at one point that some people take pride in being human and such, which I hadn't heard before. But I think that's interesting. I imagine it's because it's, like, hard to live as a human, so having some pride in it.
Somewhat of a badge of honor. I mean, in general, most people are proud of who they are and what they are. It's a very all-encompassing kind of thing. Synthetics are even proud that they're a synthetic. Like, you don't see many synthetics trying to find a way to upload their brains into an actual real human brain and live in a human body. It's doable, obviously. I mean, this is literally just a meat computer. There's not much differentiation.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a meat computer in a bone mech wearing meat armor.
Absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. Congratulations. Welcome
cool.
You look at things in a particular way and you realize that there's a specificity to them. Like, humans in all technicality are just bioorganic synthetics.
Right.
Do you need to use the light switches?
I do. Sorry.
No, not a problem there. Happens occasionally. People come in, forget to, adjust things for themselves. It's a natural.
There we go. Thank you.
No worry. But you didn't come here to just talk about me, did you?
No, but
you've got a
I don't know.
idea in your head and the topic you want to talk about, but you want to do the small talk thing first to try and broach the ice and see whether or not it's a more palatable conversation if there's been a previous established relaxation between the both of us. Which, to be fair, you need. I'm always relaxed when dealing with a customer, as it were.
Fair, yeah.
Part of the job, but don't blame yourself. Obviously, what you have to bring up is difficult for you. It always will be for a lot of people. Whatever it is that you feel is weighing you down the most. I mean, personally, I could bring up several things, but I'm letting you take the lead on the subjects you want to broach in the first place, because that's fair on you. Lets me see what you do and don't want to bring to the table first before I table anything specific myself.
Okay. How's Eli doing?
Well, they woke up, and technically I need to specifically ask you whether or not you will be their caretaker to make sure that they don't get their hands on any more medications. Considering
What's necessary for that?
just keeping an eye on them, making sure that any areas that they stay in, like, for instance, let's say the best place for them to be would be in a room in the inn, so they have some level of entertainment, bed, they can eat, they can go to the bathroom, they can watch TV, they can walk around. You know what's going in and out of that room, though. That's what's kind of necessary, because a person that self-medicated to that level has something going on, and I have not had a chance to actively sit down and do the research. Could be something like Munchausen syndrome, not even through a proxy, which is normally what most people associate it with. Could be any other number of things. They could just think they're ill and they need to take medication because that's how the brain naturally thinks that you get better. I'm ill, I take pills. If I take pills or medicine, I get better. And then suddenly the amount that they took, well, considering that, is not a healthy option. There's a variety of different reasons and thoughts there, and they need someone that they can trust specifically to be watching after them, and someone that I know would make sure that they don't actually find a way to sneak pills from anywhere or get pills to them. And, well, I know you and Magpie are close as well.
Watch him.
Yeah, I don't think Magpie would be a good individual to specifically watch over Eli either.
I can tell you things he told me, but it could have been lies or obfuscations of the truth to try to make me not worry, so I don't want to...
Well, tell me that anyway. Might as well. It'll get it off your chest, and it'll help me figure out a best way to make sure that they're better before we get on to helping you some more. Because that being on your mind in the first place definitely means that it's a lot easier to help you deal with you as opposed to another problem that seems to be pressed upon you.
He kept saying that he was just trying to have a good time. Trying to have fun and stuff. He's under substances at Orlando Saka, and he's been day drinking and such, but I don't know. I didn't really think much about it. People drink all the time at the rack, and people take drugs or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I even prescribe
He kind of
drugs.
just suggested, like, oh, I'm just having fun.
Huh. So just... Wow, it just literally sounds like depression. Dysomic depression, at least, specifically. Dysomic depression is normally identified by the fact that you have a naturally low mood. You're sitting at a low baseline, which means that most people, when they have depression, they spike down hard. And it's very noticeable for them. The way you're describing it makes it sound like Eli has a very base low and finds it difficult to come up from that in the first place. So that is a definite good thing for me to look into. I appreciate that, Skipper.
I mean, he used to not feel anything, and then started feeling things. Like, for most of his life, he didn't really feel much. And then he started more recently, not
in the
super
level
recently, I
of
guess, like within the last year,
psychopathy,
started
or in the
feeling
level of
things.
that they were just emotionally stunted. There's a difference. I mean,
Is it
technically.
psychopathy? I'm not sure.
Well,
I
psychopathy
don't
in
really know what
general
that
is
means.
quantified by the fact that you don't actually have emotions and tend to fake them specifically so that you can mask it and fit in with society itself. You don't know not having the feelings is normal or bad. Whereas sociopathy is you know that not having feelings is bad. You act upon what is in your own personal self-interest out of the fact that you either want to feel something or the fact that you feel that you will gain something by acting a particular way. It's a difficult distinction to make sometimes.
I'm not sure. He tended not to fake it, but then I think he actually started feeling things.
It sounds like he had a
but it was
level of psychopathy.
Firefly, the mold that was in him that was sort of what's it's not a parasitic relationship. I wouldn't say it's
symbiotic.
Parasitic, they both gave each other something. Symbiotic, yeah. They were in symbiosis because I think Firefly ate his feelings or would eat certain pieces of knowledge, but then they stopped doing so. I'm not sure why, and that's when sort of the things started going bad and he started forgetting things and stuff.
He didn't have...
So I guess it's more like a medical thing?
He didn't have a correct emotional outlet to be able to figure out what his actual emotions were due to the fact that his emotions were specifically monitored and tailored by another entity. And because of that, when suddenly he is left with his own emotional...
ate all of them, from my understanding. Pretty much.
Suddenly being left with emotions that you do not know how to understand or interpret correctly, that makes a lot of sense. And then you search for the feelings that feel the best, like feeling good.
It kind of shows sometimes. Sometimes I'll say something I jokingly told him to buzz off, and then he got, really upset. He, walked off and didn't tell me what it was, and then kept acting very upset with me.
Well,
I think it affects him a lot.
Definitely good, because technically the 72 hours is up and he should be released today. Keeping a person longer than necessary is not not good for someone's mental state.
What happens if I can't be the caretaker?
To be fair, I would say we put him back into observation, because I know that Magpie can't look after him. You know why as well, I will assume.
Yes.
Good. Just making sure we're on the same page and you understand my reasoning behind things. I don't want to keep you in the dark and try to hide anything if I can help it, but it is, of course, a doctor-patient confidentiality thing. Or in this case, secure medical knowledge and the specificity to make sure not to use it or hand it out to anyone. Obviously, I know that you and Magpie are close. I mean, same with Eli as well. You're a very close-knit group of individuals.
Magpie and I are siblings.
Yeah. You're your own people. I'm just saying that you're close. Just because you're siblings doesn't mean you have to be close.
Yeah, of course. I have some siblings I'm not super close with. Either because I haven't seen them in a while or it's due to
exactly
stuff and things.
But why would you not be able to look after Eli?
Just asking.
Does that worry you?
I don't want him to have to go back into observation. I'd rather be able to be there for him.
Of course. I mean, it's obvious you care. I mean, think about it. When you showed up at the Rip and Chip, I was going to specifically make sure that you were messaged, even if you hadn't been by anyone else, to make sure that you were appraised of the situation and to come in. The amount of people that say, oh, I'll get around to doing that, and then don't. People are very forgetful or finicky with the memory occasionally, like, ah, yes, I'll totally do this, and then it's forgotten, it's gone, it's not there, and, well, we all know what happens when that occurs.
That always sucks.
Yeah. The way I will always phrase it is, an accident occurs on the street. Someone is hit by a car, they're lying there bleeding out, there's a whole crowd of people. One person comes up and helps, stabilizes the person. They look around, when is the ambulance going to get here? Not a single person has called the ambulance. because everyone else in the crowd thought, that person will do it. Or, I don't need to. That person's on their phone. I'm sure that's them on the ambulance right there. Yeah. Happens. Miscommunication is a terrible bane upon, well, everyone.
Yeah.
How have you been doing? I know, obviously, that you would have preferred not to have been dealing with this at the same time as the problems you are dealing with.
That would definitely be preferable. But, you know...
Considering the fact that I'm mildly upset, but I don't blame you. And I don't want to have to say Eli getting hurt is a good reason to get you to come back off of that farm that I said that you should probably forgo going to until you've at least sorted out something at the rack first. But I could also understand that that would spike anxiety and that you're trying to do your best to cope with what you feel is healthy for you.
Sorry, what was that question?
I didn't really bring it up as a question. It's more a bit of a statement. But
Okay.
the fact that now, if I phrase it that way, you will take it as the fact that you will only blame yourself for what happened to Eli, and that's not fair on you. It could be a quantitative thing. It could very much be associated. There could be an intrinsic link between it. But, well, whether or not you want to go down that discussion is another matter altogether. I mean, considering the
You
fact...
can say it. I can take it.
You haven't been glitching at all yet, which is a good thing. So obviously you've gotten your processes in order. You've cleared yourself up a little bit, which is good. But
I'm finding ways to deal with it.
do you think it was a good idea that you went to the farm?
It's complicated.
We always knew it was going to be.
So is everything.
Yes. If anything was easy, we'd all just casually stroll on through life without a worry in the world, and I would be out of a job. Which, to be fair, I'd be kind of good for.
I can try to lay you out the
thought process? Please, by all means.
maybe not the starting thought process, but where I am now when it comes to the farm.
Sure. I'm not asking for specifics if you don't want to give them, but...
I don't want you to tell anybody about this because I don't want anyone
Doctor-patient
to
confidentiality,
blame
Skipper.
anyone. I know, but I'm just making sure because this is a very specific part I haven't really talked to other people about because I don't.
You don't trust yourself or
I
the
thought Kygo was going to
other
hurt
people.
Firefly.
Oh? And why is that?
Because he said he put a bullet in their brain.
Why?
Mostly, he said if they came into the ribbon ship, but
Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes when
I'm
someone's
trying
drawing
to
a
get
line
it-
like that where they're saying, I'm willing to kill this person.
I'm trying to get the context as to why, if Firefly going into the ribbon ship would instigate Kaiga into shooting them. In what way getting into the ribbon ship? Breaking into the back or just walking into the premises? what
I think
individual
walking in.
what individual problem was there between Firefly and Kaiga. You know, things like this. I need the specifics to build the picture so that I can understand why you ended up doing what you did, not even out of malice. You were scared. I could tell it was a fear reaction in the first place, that you specifically wanted to make sure that Kaiga would not be, well, hurting someone that you obviously care about deeply. And you went about it the wrong way. That's understandable. Considering I
was angry too. I'd say it's a good mix of both.
You were afraid that they would follow through on their threat, and angry they would do so. You lashed out by speaking to someone you thought could help you. And they took what you said out of context and did something that you didn't think would be a natural progression of where you were.
Firefly was Eli's original body. Eli had been sick for a very long time with the mold due to Firefly not eating, or I'm not sure why. They couldn't control themselves anymore. I don't think it was their fault. I don't think that they had control over what they could do. Ash went to do surgery on Eli to try to excise the mold, and Eli died. August captured his soul in a jar and made a body from, I don't know entirely how it works, but Eli's alive, different body. Firefly took over the old body. This mold has, when Firefly, I think, was not in control, but I don't think the people understand that.
I've heard about the mold, yes.
I don't think that was. I don't think it was purposeful on them. Everything they've ever said suggested that they didn't have any control over anything, which I guess they could have been lying, but they're a sweetheart, genuinely.
They were just a biological hazard by unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah. So of course it's a biohazard and stuff, and I also, like, if Kaiga didn't want them to go on the ribbon ship, that's fine, but, like, I wanted to have a talk, I guess. Too.
A civil discussion. It's understandable.
And that kind of got denied.
So in the attempt to have a discussion about the current situation that both were sitting at, because the conversation was pushed away, there was no talk about things, which you understandably were even agreeing with the fact that, yes, they shouldn't go into the ribbon ship because it's a danger for anyone that is working medically or at risk of something about infection, I would assume.
Yeah, and I was already pretty, like, someone had agreed to take Firefly into the ribbon ship, which was fine, but then Kaiga stepped in and said no. And I was like, okay, can we talk about this? Well, I said kind of, Kaiga, can we talk about this? Because it had already been a recent problem where Kaiga kind of overstepped my will and didn't talk to me. And then he just went, I'm going to shoot them if they come in the ribbon ship. And that's when I blew up. And then I was angry and I was upset and I was scared, and
you talked to someone you shouldn't have about your particular wishes. And they took that information and twisted it in a way to use against them and left you as the scapegoat. You do realize that if you explain this way to people, people will understand. They'll blame you, but they'll understand, because you did make a...
I can't add the Firefly part.
Huh?
I can't add the Firefly part. I can
Why
add
not?
that I was upset and angry and stuff, but Firefly already feels like everybody hates them, and I was talking with Toronto a little bit about Firefly and not bringing up their role in this and stuff, but Toronto was like, yeah, they can come back in a hazmat suit. Even though Firefly had been in an observation tank, basically starving themselves for a long period of time, so medical could prove that they could control themselves and not spread anymore. Yet still expected that they jump through hoops and stuff. And
I think,
they're happy
unfortunately,
at the farm.
you're going to see a person that is like that treated as a leper. And that is understandable. It's not a nice way to think about things, but
Or,
sometimes you're going to have to give up some of your liberty, especially in this case for Firefly. They will have to give up some of their liberty of what they could wear or where they could go because people are or aren't comfortable with them being around, especially if a problem has been observed before. It's not a matter of if they are currently working on it and doing well. It's a matter of if it goes back to how it was, if there's a breach, if suddenly it all becomes, well, complicated again.
that's the
A
problem.
biological outbreak that could
I have
spread,
the
not a good thing.
Firefly's nervous and anxious at the meat rack. Feels like everybody hates them. I take them to the farm because I want to keep them safe. They're happy there.
That's
They've been
understandable.
talking more. They've been wearing outfits. They've been learning more language. They finally learned how to stand up straight. Stuff like that. Firefly will follow me anywhere. If I go back to the meat rack, I'm putting them back in the same position.
Look,
They just say that they want to follow me.
the difference here is that all you have to do is only at the rack put them in the suit. That's simple enough, right? Yes, it is a small loss of liberty, but if you placate everyone else, if you show them that Firefly is willing to bend to what everyone else wants to make sure that they understand that all they want is to be friends and to be able to be with those that they care about and to just exist within an area, even at the behest of others, literally saying, you have to be in this, you have to wear a hazmat suit. Outside of the
It's
rack,
a moving
no
of the
one cares.
goalposts. I'm just worried that they wanted them to starve and do a test to make sure that they wouldn't spread. Okay, they did that. No, they didn't bring up any other forms of tests or anything like that. Now the goalposts have been moved to something else. I'm worried that even if they do that, goalposts are going to be moved again. And that
I
there's
would
simply
say
going to be
that
no
this
way they can
wasn't a
peacefully
moving of the
coexist with the meat
goalposts.
rack.
This was a miscommunication. Because they want to say that yes, they can keep themselves under control, but having a contingency in place was probably always going to be a idea that was going to be brought up. Because there's a risk.
bringing it up.
Risk mitigation is always like, think about it. All right, if this place got, water damaged, what are they going to do? They're going to try and patch the hole up in the roof, right? But that doesn't mean they're not going to put tarpaulin around as well to make sure that it gets caught if it does keep leaking for some reason, if they didn't spot a crack that they thought they had fixed. It's understandable that it feels like the goalposts have been moved, but this doesn't seem like a big ask. Obviously, I understand that it does feel like they are being discriminated against, because discrimination is a terrible thing. But, I mean, it's the same reason why I don't work in a hospital, why I'm not allowed to work in a more, upscale place, because any and all hospitals that look at me go, you're a biological hazard, you're an undead, you're a zombie, you are not going to be good for the patients, you're going to scare people, you're going to potentially spread disease. I get discriminated against. So I understand where you're coming from here in the fact that seeing your friend discriminated against slightly is painful. But they take the precautions that people want and say, you sit down with everyone and go, I want Firefly to be around. I want to make sure that this mold is taken care of. No one worries about it. So we will have them wear a hazmat suit. At that point, you then say, is there anything else that you all want to reserve the right on before just these things are established? Because at that point in time, then you can see if the goalposts are being moved. If people go, we want to make sure there's a contingency in place for if a hazmat suit is breached, if they snag it on something. They want to probably say, the inn this particular room, we want that room as a clean room set up and specifically designed so that if a breach containment occurs, we can put them in there until they can be recontained correctly. Something like that. People are scared of things that they know can cause a lot of damage. I didn't hear much about the mold. I heard a little bit. I heard that it was, well, very dangerous when it did get out and that it caused a lot of damage. But
Mostly to Eli, it feels. I feel like a lot of other people got cured pretty easily.
yeah,
But I can't talk to their symptoms.
and don't worry about how people might react differently, or whether or not the mold changes, or whether if someone doesn't. Imagine someone was asymptomatic. How would that go? You know what asymptomatic is?
It's when they don't have symptoms.
Yeah. So what happens if you somehow have
So
a
they're
carrier?
infected, but they don't know.
Yeah. What happens then? You have an unchecked
It seems a
spread.
little bit slippery slope.
Everything's a slippery slope when you think about it. I'm just saying this is a...
Why they call it a fallacy.
Yeah, this is just a hypothetical. Just putting this out there to
Okay.
show you. It's the fact that if that were to occur, what happens? An unchecked, uncalculable spread occurs. Suddenly, the entirety of Zephyra is in danger, not just the rack. The rack can shut down and quarantine itself if needs be. If something bad does happen, anyone in contact, people can, obviously, as has occurred before, not when I was around, so I don't know or can speak to it, but obviously it was dealt with. But if it suddenly spreads out into the wider of Zephyra, and, well, considering, let's say, slug cats or sewer bears or anything like that were to get it, even just regular people, somehow, again, unchecked, it goes everywhere. It's pandemic level. So you can see why people are perturbed in the first place as to why they would allow something that could cause that in the first place near them. I don't think that people being worried and wanting to take extra precautionary steps, sure, it's at the liberty of them in the first place. But to be around people that they want to be around in a place where they normally wouldn't be able to, wearing a suit, probably not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Having a plan and showing people that you're ready to have a plan and that you're willing to help them abate their worries in the first place. It's always a big step. Makes you the bigger person. Don't put up with if they do move the goalposts. But come up with the plan in the first place for yourself. See what they are currently asking. Go, okay, that's within reason. Sure, it's not the best. Like, if they wanted to sit and eat at, at the rack itself, probably difficult. But you could maybe set it up for them. Just be like, hey, do you mind if we sit in, say, the musical area to eat? You know, away from the people so people can see that it's small steps. Nothing can ever be one easy jump, because if it was, everyone's problems would be over and done with, and again, I'd be out of a job. The fact you've got the level of care in the first place that made you do what you did out of frustration and anger. It's rare that you see people that have that level of care for others. It truly is. It's just going to be difficult for you, well, trying to deal
I don't
with
think
the
it's
mess.
a good thing.
Well, of course not. It's not a good thing to have to infringe on someone to do that, but what if it was the other way around? What if...
Oh, but I was blind angry. I wasn't thinking.
Well, exactly. You lashed out and did something that you thought, well, you didn't think about. You just said something to a person that you thought could be trusted, and they betrayed that. Unfortunately, it falls to you to be the one to have to deal with those repercussions. And as I've said, the only way that's going to happen is if you own up to it and slowly get the people that have been affected by it negatively to understand where you were coming from and why it happened in the first place. There was no intent. If you'd have had a true problem with Kaiga, you would have gone and shot him yourself or something, right? You were venting.
I didn't want him to get hurt.
Exactly. Look,
I told them multiple times I didn't want him to get hurt.
that's the point. If you'd wanted to hurt Kaiga, you would have done so yourself. You're probably more than capable. Anyone at the rack knows how to use a weapon. You could have walked through the front door of the Rip and Chip and put a bullet in him. Could happen to anyone. You didn't. You just wanted to talk to someone. Unfortunately, you chose a poor person to talk to. I don't know if you knew about their associations. I don't know if you knew what they were going to do because of what you did. None of that matters, though. All that matters was that you were upset. You lashed out. You wanted to vent. And unfortunately, the person you vented to used that against you. They put all of the blame and all of the problems onto you. And now you're having to deal with something that someone else decided was a good idea for them to go and do because they could get away with it. You were the perfect patsy. You didn't have malicious intent. The hard part's going to be confirming that with other people and convincing them of it. It's
Got it.
going to be difficult for you. You know that. But I will definitely say, keeping Firefly on the farm, good idea for now. You can deal with that problem afterwards, because the current problem is whether or not people want to do anything about you when you're not the actual problem.
I don't think they'll let them stay if I'm not there.
Yes, exactly. And they won't let you stay if they realize that this problem could have been solved and brought forward and made easier by you talking to people and figuring something out. It's a knock-on effect.
I think the farm people would be fine with it.
Or just leaving it all, just staying there, never coming back.
No, I don't know. It's complicated.
It is.
I'm just saying that I don't think that they're not going to kick me out over it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but the rack might. And you like being at the rack. You have established yourself there. That
Do I?
you wouldn't have started working at a business and have stayed there if you didn't like it.
It was the first place that welcomed me after I woke up.
Exactly. It's like your home.
I didn't go on sabbatical just because of all this stuff. It's also because I've never left of my own choice, except for maybe a weekend or two. And it's just been bad down there anyways. Every week somebody's dying in some way, or somebody's gonna go get themselves hurt really bad, or someone is hurt real bad.
That's the fear for you. How do you think I feel?
Yeah, and I'm exhausted.
I'm a medical professional. I literally deal with the people walking in, gaping wounds, something hanging out of them, dripping, gasping, wheezing. It wears on a person, but you get used to it. It's never an easy thing, seeing people hurt, especially if you're obviously soft-hearted like yourself.
just tired of seeing my friends get hurt, or killed, or whatever, and nearly killed, throwing themselves to murder themselves and put themselves up on crosses and stuff.
Exactly. Then help stop them.
I can't. There is nothing I can do against anything. I can talk to them and they'll be like, you don't believe in me. You don't believe I can handle this. I'll be like, no, I'm just trying to make sure you're being safe. Or they'll be like, oh, but you do dangerous things. It's like, yeah, occasionally,
You have the wonderful fun of being able to be backed up as well, though.
Yeah, and I don't want to control what people are doing and stuff like that, because nobody likes that.
Again,
and it's ultimately not my job. I'm just
my entire job is literally telling people to do that. Like, you have come in here, and here is me telling you, you're being stupid about this. Stop being stupid. Here's ways to stop being stupid. Literally, you're telling me that you want to do my job, which I get. A friend does that for other friends. I don't want to
do your job. I'm tired of your job. I hate your job.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
You do it in a lesser capacity to me. But yes, if there's one person that understands what you're going through, it's me. I have to deal with a lot of issues. People bring me any number of things, from the mundane and just small scale to the fact that I am literally sitting here staring at potential god-level apocalyptic events. And I'm just a guy from the fucking street that literally talks to people. So you see how it can be that it's not easy for your friends as well? That they get dragged into things? I don't blame myself for getting dragged into stuff. People bring things to me.
I'm not angry at my friends. It's just like, it's an environment of like... It's like walking into a field of barbed wires, but you love those barbed wires so much, but oh god.
When you want nothing more to roll around in the razor wire fields covered in lemon juice.
Yeah, because they're my friends, but also I am so tired of plucking barbs out of my fucking skin, you know? I am... And that's one nice thing about the farm is that, like, it's usually very not stressful. No, not every day everybody's coming in like, I'm gonna go get this bad thing happened. It's such, it's such like a 5 bad things to one good thing.
You let it.
One good thing is so little and minute.
Look, it's not your fault that these kind of things happen. And sure, it feels bad to see a friend go through something that you might be able to help with, but you might not. What does happen?
It stresses me out if my friends are hurt. I can't just not care.
I mean,
I can't just be like, oh, I guess, Aiden got his leg cut off, which he hasn't. So just a fucking example. I'm gonna
talk to Aiden.
Don't care about that.
Sorry, personal fault there.
Okay. But like, for as an example, Nathiel getting hurt. Like, not that I think like he did anything wrong or anything like that, just another bad thing, and then I'm worried about my friends. And I think I am starting to hit a stress crux. I don't think I can handle much more anymore.
Because your level of care is so deep.
Yeah, because they're my friends, and it feels like something's happening to everybody.
And it's going to keep happening. It's life. Things happen. Zephyr is a shit place. Sometimes it's not even Zephyra. Sometimes it's literally just go to Orlando Soccer and apparently kaijus. I haven't even seen that, but you know. You think about the broad range of it all. Like how big the world is, right? You can imagine the scope of the world, yeah?
Pretty big, yeah.
Yeah. Now imagine it in the scope of the solar system.
Okay.
Now the galaxy.
Okay, we're getting pretty big here.
Yeah. Now the universe.
That's like all the everything. I guess there's like
Yeah,
planes and whatever, but
we're not even a grain of sand in the beach of it all. We're like a molecule in a grain of sand on a beach. And, well, fun fact, if you decided to count every grain of sand on a beach, you'd be here longer than time itself would exist. And that's just one beach.
probably doesn't help that sand keeps being made.
Yeah, exactly. Just like the universe keeps getting bigger. What I'm saying is, in the grand scheme of everything, all we have is what we do. If all you can do is tell your friends not to make mistakes, that's all you can do. It's up to them whether or not they listen to that advice. And whilst it hurts if they ignore that advice, or if they do get hurt, that's what will happen. We can't stop that any more than we could stop
Well, then
more.
what do I do?
You learn to accept. It's not easy, trust me. It's something I have had to teach myself for my job. As terrible as it sounds, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. I know, it's kind of strange, right? When a movie gets it so perfectly on the head.
I don't know what movie that's from, I'm going to be honest with you.
Look it up sometime. You'll, find yourself educated. It's the sound of music.
Oh, okay. I've heard the name of it, but I haven't seen it myself.
Maybe if you watch that, you'll actually learn something from it, surprisingly. You'll realize that no matter how much you try to make things in your life nice, there's nothing but pain and suffering all around you anyway. All you can do is try to bring those into that comfort bubble that you offer when they're going through it. You've seen what happens when you lash out. You make a mistake.
Yeah, but I can't be the rock right now.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why you've looked for someone like me to act as a rock. That's what I'm here for. That's my job. To anchor people, help them see themselves, and work back to getting their foundation again.
Okay.
I know it's difficult. I know I'm throwing a lot at you. But I think that you can do it. You've got a lot of problems, but you've got the logic. And I understand that your feelings, that's a difficult part for you. You feel very strongly particular ways about specific subjects. You don't feel that there should be any flexibility in this. But without that flexibility, without that ability to adapt, well, you've got the results in front of you so far, and what's happened? They haven't been good. Sometimes you've got to give up a little bit, but only because it's like slacking the rope. You give that little bit back and you can get a better grip on it. Sure, you lost a little bit, but you can pull that back slowly. You can tug a war with life.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry that I'm talking in like rhetoric and making it sound like it's all so easy, because I know very much that it's not, and you're going through any number of problems yourself. But I'm just trying to give you the perspective you need. Because without the perspective,
No, I appreciate it.
yeah, you lose sight of it.
You're fine. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I can try to see if I can figure out something for Eli. I can ask the people I'm staying with, and if that doesn't work, maybe I could try to... August, who's one of Magpie's siblings, maybe my sis. He works in Orlando Soccer, and he gets things like free hotel rooms and such, using his stuff, so I could, if that doesn't work out, ask him. But
As long as Eli is kept off of
day to figure it
actual
out.
medication. Because, well, if they need something to feel up about, get them some sativa marijuana. Like, get them something that'll bring their mood up a little bit. Outside of that, as an edible, because you don't want them to know that they're taking drugs in that case, which is, again, normally not a thing I will tell someone to do, which is to dope someone. That's normally a very bad thing to be doing to a person. But in this case, if you bring their mood up a little bit and see if that helps them in the first place when it's a monitored usage of a medication, that should help. If it doesn't, and they feel that they need to go more and more, and they start trying to get hold of things that they can alter their mind with more than that, then there's a definite problem, and they're going to need a more in-depth sit-down, or at least observation. Because sitting down with a person like that and me talking to them, that's not going to help them. Not from my side of things. They will push back because their mindset is set to, I need this to feel like this. And yeah, addiction therapy is a very different beast.
Okay. Just, please at least give me a day to try to figure out housing and stuff, but I'm willing to
Skipper,
try to take a
did
moment.
I contact you about anything? When I heard you went to the farm, did I say, hey, Skipper, you shouldn't be there? No. I don't judge people
No,
for their
I'm
actions. I can only give you the tools. It's how you use them.
Okay.
Don't
I'll figure
worry.
it out.
Okay. Is there anything else you've got on your mind right now?
Maybe for a later appointment. I feel like I've
Okay.
spilled enough of my guts today.
That's fine. And as you say, you're feeling tired. All right. So,
Emotionally tired, not physically. Although I have been sleeping outside recently.
I don't want to keep pushing
Stars are
stuff
very
onto
pretty.
you. Yeah, they kind of are, I suppose, when you can see them. It's kind of reminds me of, maybe you should show up to the Wicarium sometime when it's at night. Occasionally we do open late. It's kind of pretty. You get to see all the stars above Alandosaka really close.
Are those on any set days, or is it just kind of
It
keep an eye?
decides when management decides to open it.
Fair.
Just one of those things.
Thank you, Ater.
That's okay.
I wish you
Look,
luck with your next appointment.
I don't think I'm going to need luck. I think it's more someone just wants to get an evaluation for themselves and quantification that they're not exactly how they think they are as a person. But that's a lot of people. They want people to go, am I me? It gets, complicated.
Oh, do not start me on that at all.
Yeah. Okay. You have a good one, Skipper. I'll see you around. Are you going to be at the rack?
I'll figure it out.
Well, if I see you there, I'll let you pull me aside at some point and you can give me an update on how you're feeling, okay? Just a casual one. We won't need to sit down. We won't need to have a big long talk. Just a quick, hey, Ater, just this is what I've done. This is how I'm feeling. I can be like, cool. Okay?
Okay.
Right. See you there.